You deserved everything you got. This is a union city.
That is a Philadelphia tradition.
Seize the means of podcasting.
Oh, God, the boss has crushed us.
Let me tell you one thing else.
In oldie-timey times.
The pleasure of the flesh is in solidarity.
We will not raw dog reality for that one.
It's going to be wholly unprofessional.
The Scab Buster.
What have we become?
Keep together strong. Let that be your mantra.
Solidarity. Solidarity forever.
Hello and welcome to the Labor John Podcast, where we deliver the working class history of Philadelphia and the surrounding world to proud, expectant fathers and mothers and everything in between of viewers like you. Thank you. And today we're going to learn about...
We're going to learn about the 1941 Bethlehem Steel strike.
Oh, right. I know nothing about this.
So, well, we've talked about Hazleton.
We have.
And between Hazleton and Philly, there's another city, technically two cities, called Allentown. And then right next to Allentown, there's Bethlehem.
Little town. I'm very familiar with it.
I didn't even make the connection that we're doing the Bethlehem episode for Christmas. So this is perfect. So Bethlehem Steel, which is where the strike founded, was founded in the year 0 BCE.
Okay.
I guess it would have been
33 BC.
Yeah, 33 BC. But anyway, it was actually founded in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania in 1857.
Okay.
As the Bethlehem Iron Company.
Oh.
Which was a blast furnace and rolling mill plant. And they got their first big contracts were making armor for U.S. Navy ships.
Ooh, okay.
And rails for railroads.
Okay.
So they made a lot of money in the 19th century and expanded.
I'm happy for them.
Yeah. And then became Bethlehem Steel in 1899.
Better name.
Because this is a very condensed history of this company because they had a bunch of smaller companies that they both formed and then merged back with. And it was
yeah, we don't need to go through all that.
Yeah, it's annoyingly complicated. But Bethlehem Steel by 1899. In the 20th century, they started making ships, not just making armor for ships, and bought up a bunch of smaller firms, and even bought a bunch of railroads, which everyone was doing that. So this is what you do. You buy railroads.
And battleships.
Effectively just monopoly. Then they were also one of the first mass producers of steel I-beams. So all of the skyscrapers in the 1920s, a lot of those I-beams came from Bethlehem Steel.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of cool. Then they also had a whole bunch of military contracts.
I would hope so. I was hoping they weren't just making battleships for the fun of it. Oh, yeah.
No, they were selling them to the U.S. government. Probably some foreign governments too, but
that's the part where you're supposed to do more research, Gabe.
There was so much other stuff to research. I did not have time.
If that is the least interesting part of the research, I'm worried.
Yeah.
And excited.
So in total, they employed about 300,000 workers, but that was spread across multiple firms, multiple plants as well, and multiple shipyards.
Okay.
So of the 300,000, 180,000 worked in the shipbuilding division, and then of the 120,000 that were left, about 20,000 worked in Bethlehem proper. Okay. In the main plant there. So that's Bethlehem Steel Corporation. The other side of this whole battle that we're going to talk about, the first union that tried to organize steel workers in Bethlehem were a puddlers union with the best fucking name, which is the Sons of Vulcan.
What? Wait a minute. Roll back a little bit.
Okay.
What the fuck is a puddler?
Okay. I guess I should explain that. So puddler, when you have a blast furnace, which is a way of melting down iron to make steel. You would open a little gate at the bottom, and that would let all of the molten steel pour out into molds.
Okay.
And that's how you would make what's called pig iron.
Okay.
And then that would get reshaped into different things. So a puddler was the person that opened that gate to let all of the molten steel out, because they were letting the steel come out into puddles. So unfortunately, the Sons of Vulcan merged into the Amalgamated Association of Iron and Steel Workers. So that happened in 1876. AA, which is what they called themselves because it was the Amalgamated Association. AA was they kind of led the charge during the Homestead strike out in Homestead, Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh, or at the Homestead plant outside of Pittsburgh. So while the Amalgamated Association was a craft union, it could actually be really militant at times because like Homestead was a legit battle. Then it started to recognize that as the iron industry industrialized, its craft approach was becoming more and more obsolete. So they started letting more, or they like dabbled in industrial unionism and letting some non-craft related people in. But only to a limited extent. So we're gonna, and that's like turn of the 20th century. Then we're gonna fast forward to the Great Depression. I should know. Yeah, good times. There was a big strike in 1910 in Bethlehem, which will be another episode, so we're not going to talk about it. Because I'm preserving that so that we can squeeze more content out of all of this.
You're not supposed to say that out loud, bud.
Yeah, you can edit it.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't think we have the funding for an editor. I just have to keep on speaking. That's why these episodes are 72 hours long.
Unedited and raw.
Labor John uncut. We're going deep.
Okay, so Great Depression is fun times. My
favorite depression.
Yeah, of the depressions, I think it was the best. The AA's power had fallen pretty far at this point. After World War I, they had elected a pretty timid and conservative leadership that really didn't do any organizing. They just kind of signed contracts and kept going. But they didn't build any power base. Then the National Industrial Recovery Act of 1933 happened, which gave some protections to labor organizing. And across the country, there was this big wave of rank and file organizing, and in the AA as well. Which actually pissed off all of the leadership, because all of a sudden they had all of these locals were like establishing really democratic militant unions and doing their own thing. And then
the leadership was like, we're not supposed to be doing things
at
all unless it was like militantly signing a contract.
Yes. AA was kind of unwilling to change with the times and embrace the new militancy in its rank and file members.
You can go through this without talking about God. I mean, not everybody who has a problem also. Fuck. I forgot what meeting.
Slightly different AA.
Forgot what meeting I was at.
Ooh.
Apologize to my fellow friends of Bill W.
The American Federation of Labor also tried to organize steelworkers, but that fizzled out like basically immediately from what I could find, it was literally the president of the AFL said we should organize steelworkers, and then no one else wanted to.
Ah.
And it never went anywhere.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the CIO.
Okay.
The Congress of Industrial Organizations.
Okay.
Came on the scene when a number of formerly AFL affiliated unions broke with their parent federation and decided to take an industrial approach where they would organize everyone within a shop rather than have like there's a puddlers union and I don't know what other trades there would be, probably like a mold makers union and all of that. It's just all one union now. So they formed, or the CIO formed the Steel Workers Organizing Committee, which surprisingly focused on organizing steel workers.
Oh.
It's a very confusing name.
I like it, though. I like it, truth in advertising.
After a series of victories against other firms like U.S. Steel, which was one of the biggest steel firms in the world, and an intense battle against Little Steel, which was another...
Little Steel.
Yeah, it's a cute little steel firm out in Johnstown, PA, that did a bunch of union busting and called a bunch of cops in. So they're cute, but not great. So then SWAC turned its attention to Bethlehem Steel in 1941. Their first push to organize Bethlehem actually came in Buffalo, New York, because Bethlehem had bought the Lackawanna Steel Company, which was outside of Buffalo. Mm-hmm. So, on February 26, 1941, the workers at the Lackawanna plant outside of Buffalo went on strike for wages, hours, conditions, and most importantly, union recognition. Bethlehem had forced a company union called the Employee Representation Plan. And that had been in place since 1919.
ERP?
Sorry?
The ERP?
Yes.
The ERP.
The ERP. Yeah, so they had forced the ERP on the workers. But that was technically in violation of the 1935 National Labor Relations Act and the National Industrial Recovery Act. Oh. So SWAC had sued them to get rid of the ERP. Oh. And then they went on strike to kind of force that a little bit more because it was getting held up in court.
Okay.
The folks in Buffalo went on strike, and then everyone in Bethlehem was watching that strike really, really closely. But
not too closely because it's like 500 miles away.
Yeah, I guess they were looking at the newspapers a lot.
Okay.
So they both SWAC and the company were watching the developments in Buffalo or paying attention to Buffalo. The whole town was basically on edge for the whole week that the strike was going on because they didn't know if the plant in Bethlehem itself was going to go on strike.
Okay.
So the management at Bethlehem brought out their company police, had the local police stationed outside the factory the whole time, and the managers made preparations to sleep in the plant.
Oh.
So
yeah, sleepover.
Yeah, a fun little sleepover. They started bringing in cots and getting everything set up. So then
a projector.
Yeah,
we're gonna watch Spice World.
Ooh, you probably make s'mores over a blast furnace.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be tasty. Get some carbon scoring on everything, but
I tell you what, would I really, really want a strike. What is a strike?
Yes.
Any union can have that, by the way. But
yep,
you have to pay me $20,000.
I think that was just enough that we can get away with it.
Yeah.
If you're saying one more bar.
The episode just ends.
Yep.
This was brought to you by the Spice Girls.
So they were really afraid of a sit-down strike because they had seen the UAW doing that, and they didn't want that to happen at the Bethlehem plant. All the SWAC members, all the union members, were like, all of the rank and file people were ready to go on strike, and were like going to their leadership and volunteering, and the leadership kept telling them like, no, you need to wait for an order to strike. Don't just walk out of the job now. So then the Lackawanna strike ended on March 1st with a negotiated victory for the union.
Hey. But
The story continues.
I know it. There was a but.
So that not only helped the workers in Lackawanna, but also showed the SWAC members in Bethlehem that like, hey, you can go on strike and win. So get ready. Mm-hmm. So the organizers in Bethlehem started to agitate to get their union recognized in Bethlehem. And the NLRB came in and said that you're going to have an election for union representation. So get ready for that. And that afterwards the company would be legally required to negotiate. So everyone was like getting ready and starting to organize for this big election. SWAC sent Van A. Bittner, which is a great name.
Van A. Bittner? Vanna Bittner.
Vanna Bittner.
Okay.
Who arrived in Bethlehem on March 2nd, and he was one of the chief negotiators from the Lackawanna settlement. Mm-hmm. Oh, so they were bringing in their big guns to start putting the pressure on Bethlehem. But Bethlehem was refusing to negotiate with them again.
God, even after having Van A. Bittner?
Yeah.
The prize ringer?
So by March 10th, the union started calling on the Roosevelt administration to intervene and force the company to negotiate. And basically they said, like, they have an absurd amount of military contracts going on right now because the whole country was rearming. So they threatened a second strike, saying, like, we will shut down armaments production in this plant if you don't come in and intervene.
Yeah.
Bethlehem Steel announced they would hold an ERP election. Basically, their goal was to try and ease tensions by giving the workers the option to, like, vote for a management shill to represent them. In the hopes that would kind of dissuade them from agitating for the union or for an actual union. The ERP ballot boxes were all supposed to be draped in American flags for the election.
All right.
Which this SWAC specifically filed a grievance in court about, because they said that they were basically pointing out the hypocrisy of the company trying to hold an illegal company union election, and draping everything in the American flag.
It's not a good look.
Yeah. So it was like, that was just a weird thing that showed up, and they were specifically calling that out in court, in addition to suing to have ERP no longer exist. But they were like, and if you don't do that, then you can at least tell them that they can't put the American flag on it.
To be fair, everything should be smothered with the American flag in this country, I think.
It's true.
If somebody can wear like a thong of an American flag and that be patriotic, then the gloves are off.
True. The American flag gloves.
Everything is on the table or between a pair of butt cheeks.
Yes. SWAC the election was set for the week of March 24th. The company continued to like push forward with it. SWAC responded to that by saying that if they didn't call off the illegal and illegitimate ERP election, there'd be a strike.
Okay.
So they said that they would go out on strike on the 25th if the election happened.
Okay.
And now Howard Curtis, who is the SWAC director in Bethlehem, declared, as soon as our men see ballot boxes, they will stop work and strike. They are more determined than ever to walk out. They reiterated that they believed they had organized about 18,000 employees at the plant. So like of the 20,000 people that worked there, they claimed that they had the majority. The ERP responded to that by saying that they would hold an election CIO or no CIO.
Okay.
And again, hanging over all of this was $1 billion in defense contracts.
Oh.
No. So $1 billion in 1941 is $20,252,448,979.59 in 2022.
So what the Pentagon spends in a day, you're saying?
Yes. What the Pentagon loses in a day.
Loses in a day.
What they misplace in a day. So it's approximately half the price of Twitter. So early on the 24th, SWAC committees started to meet to start planning for the strike. So everyone was like, everyone knew it was going to happen. They just didn't know when. On the afternoon of the 24th, they found out that ERP had held elections in 6 departments across the plant. Howard Curtis immediately called for all union members to walk out. The strike was on.
Hey!
So it first started with like 30 guys walking off the line in the afternoon.
Okay.
But more and more kept trickling out of the plant. And then by the midnight shift change, it was an estimated 2,000 pickets.
Woo!
Around 8 of the 9 gates in the plant. And they expected more to come in the morning, or more to join them in the morning. So the first night went by pretty much peacefully.
Okay.
There was one company police car that was overturned. With the policeman in it. So they flipped his car with him in it, let him crawl out, and then once he was out and probably like pretty friggin' shaken, they flipped his car back over and let him drive off. Which is just fantastic. So
holy shit.
Yeah, I would like to know like what he told everyone else at the station when he got there. It's like, why is your roof all dented? But
they rolled my car.
Yeah.
And then they rolled it again. They should have kept fucking with him and just kept rolling it over. He gets out, gets back in, he rolls it back over.
Yeah.
Guys, stop.
So other company cars had their windows broken. There are some reports of people trying to drive into the plant would get stopped by the crowd, and everyone would just come and shake the car just to scare them off.
Oh, okay.
But only that one cop car was flipped over. Then there was during the midnight shift change, a human wall formed in front of the main gate of the plant because there were it was approximately 35 men were walking into the plant, which also usually it was a much larger group of people going in. So the fact that it was only 35 already showed that the strike was working.
Human Wall is my favorite song by Midnight Shift Change. It got to like number 3 in the billboards in 1975.
Nice. So they were challenging everyone who was coming into the plant, trying to get them to join the picket line or just go back home. There were also a bunch of insults being hurled around at everyone, and it was basically just two groups of people yelling at each other. But some of the guys coming into the plant were union members.
Okay.
From the railroad division.
Who went to work, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was some union scabbing going on, where members of the Railway Brotherhood said that they hadn't been called out on strike, so they were going in. Company management was also offering the men who were coming off of their shift the option to stay in the plant. They were bribing them with food, overtime pay, and sleeping accommodations. So all the like s'mores and warm cider that they had been prepping earlier in the month, they're like, hey, you can just hang out here. So by the next morning, it was estimated that there were 2,500 men, women, and children out front or during the first night.
Okay.
Because it was about 2,000 people out on strike, and then a bunch of like families coming to just watch. So then the next morning, picketing resumed. Again, it was mostly peaceful.
Yeah, last time it was peaceful. They flipped the police car with a policeman inside of it twice.
Yeah, it gets worse.
Jesus God.
So
you're gonna flip a policeman with a police car inside of it.
Yep. So every gate at the 4 square mile plant was basically was picketed, and there was a human wall there.
Human wall.
So then suddenly, at some point in the morning, it wasn't clear when, but a Bethlehem City police car drove past the pickets at the Emery Street entrance, and someone inside the police car chucked a tear gas canister at the pickets.
Uh-oh.
I couldn't find any reference to what happened to the first tear gas can, but the crowd definitely didn't disperse, so I'm assuming someone like just kicked it away. And they thought they were fine. And then they reformed and maintained the picket. Then all of a sudden, the car came back, speeding down the street in the other direction, and another canister of tear gas flew out the window at the pickets. This time they were, I wouldn't say expecting it, but were more prepared. So they ran up and formed a human wall in front of the car.
No.
Forced it to stop.
Oh, thank God.
They dragged the troopers out of the car.
I'm sure.
Roughed them up a little bit. Not like extremely violently, but definitely dragged them on the ground a bit as they were pulling them out of the car.
Lovingly dragged them out of their cars.
Lovingly
committed Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. So then they destroyed all the windows in the car, flipped it over, and at some point, someone realized that there was a whole box of tear gas bombs in the back seat.
Uh-oh.
So that disappeared into the crowd.
Oh.
Fuck. Yeah. And from that point on, basically no holds were barred. From the union's perspective, the pickets had been attacked during what was a fairly lawful and peaceful demonstration. And there hadn't been any injunction against mass picketing. So they were allowed to block every entrance.
And flip as many police cars as they want.
Yep. And they were more than willing to return to work once the company called off the ERP election. So they had some reasons to be there. But they had just had 2 cans of tear gas chucked at them, and a cop car tried to drive into the crowd. So they started running into every company parking lot and flipped every single car on its side.
Jesus God.
Because
Well,
basically all of the cars that were there were either management,
yeah.
cops, or people crossing the picket line. So this did lead to some amazing pictures in the newspaper of like a very neatly laid out parking lot where you can tell every single car was well parked in a spot. It's just all on its side. And there's some great pictures, so I'll make sure to save those for the Instagrams.
The gram.
So then when trolleys started arriving with more scabs, the pickets basically just formed a human wall in front of the trolley and didn't let them get close enough to the plant to get the scabs out, because they were trying to drive into the plant itself because there was a trolley stop there.
Yeah.
So they were forcing everyone to get off the trolley outside of the plant. They also, I think it sounds like they pushed 2 cars in front of the Mincy Bridge, which goes across the river in Bethlehem. So they blocked that so that you couldn't drive across the river.
Oh my God.
And basically like shut down. Well, they did what a picket line is supposed to do and shut down the plant.
Yeah. And everything within a 50-mile radius, apparently.
Yeah, basically. So while all of this was going on, both the state and federal labor inspectors were there to assess the situation and determine if a resolution could be reached. And in addition to them, the governor sent 125 state police, including 18 mounted troopers.
Oh, God.
To augment the 28 state police that were already at the plant.
Can you flip a fucking horse?
That's the one thing they didn't try doing.
Oh, God. Smart.
Yeah. So at first...
we found a box of tear gas inside this horse.
So at first they held back, but once the rioting broke out, the state troopers started attacking the strikers. And it should also be noted that the state labor board inspectors were there. Basically, they were supposed to be the ones calling back to the governor to be like, hey, you should send in the state police because a resolution isn't going to be reached peacefully here.
Yeah.
But the governor had already sent in the state police when he sent in the labor inspector. So not great there.
No.
So at 8:30 p.m., mounted police pushed through the Grace Avenue entrance, which was one of the main gates, and basically forced back 1,000 pickets, clearing it both with just horses charging at people, and then foot troopers coming in behind them with nightsticks to beat everyone back. And reportedly, strike breakers in the plant weren't even working. They were just on
watching Spice World.
Yes. And
tell me you want to scab, you really want to scab, you really want to scab, you really want to scab, scab. Ah. God, I did one bar too many.
Oh, God. David Beckham's going to be in your house tonight. And not for a good reason.
I don't know what that means.
Because, is it Posh Spice?
You married David Beckham?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, so strikebreakers inside the plant were watching all of this go down from the fire escape. Then those mounted police that pushed out of the Grace Avenue entrance made a 3-block corridor in front of the entrance to the plant so that scabs could be brought in. And at the same time, the State Liquor Control Board ordered the closure of all licensed bars and distributors in the city, which is really upsetting. Yeah. AA strikes again. So So the police forced the main gate to stay open with mounted troops. Basically, whenever a picket line tried to form again, they would charge at them.
All right, this is not going too well.
And then at some point, one of those tear gas canisters that they stole from the car was thrown into the group of mounted cops.
Woo!
The cops responded to that by basically charging at every group of people that they saw and just cleared out everything around the main entrance to the plant. But despite all of this, and despite the cops like really literally cracking skulls to get the plant open, only 35 people made it in for the 11 p.m. shift change.
Okay. That's not a lot.
No, and the strike was actually very effective.
Yeah.
So the night of the 25th, because this was all only one day.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That was the first full day of the strike.
Feels like a week.
Yeah. SWAC called a mass meeting at the Beth Allen Casino, which is on the north side of the city, where Howard Curtis told them if Colonel Adams, who was the guy in charge of the state police, thinks he can bring his men in and break up our orderly pickets, there is going to be trouble.
Okay.
So it gets a little bit worse. The next day.
For who, Gabe?
Well, for the pickets. For the union. The next day, they brought in an additional 125 state troopers.
Okay.
Including 6 more mounted troops. They also brought in, because there's behind the steel plant, there was a rail yard. So they brought in sleeper cars and cafe cars from the railroad company that Bethlehem Steel owned.
Yeah.
And used that to feed all of the scabs inside the plant.
Okay. That's nice.
And provided them like surprisingly nice accommodations.
That's great.
So, scabbing pays, I guess. The state troopers agreed to the now 250 state troopers that were there were up against approximately 16,000 pickets. And they agreed to allow picketing to resume under the requirement that it stayed peaceful. So they weren't allowed to flip cars anymore.
Okay.
And they also weren't allowed to, or they had to allow all 9 gates to remain open. So 16,000 men weren't going into work, but they had to let scabs through. And they kind of like were willing to negotiate that peace a little bit. Weirdly, even on the 25th, with all of the insanity that was happening there was only one arrest over the whole of the strike. It's a guy named Paul Martin, 32 years old, and he was arrested for throwing a milk bottle at a state trooper. There was also supposed to be a truce meeting called, but that never happened or there was supposed to be a truce meeting. Both sides seemed to have announced that it was going to happen. And then then the company claimed that it was supposed to be at 10 a.m.
Oh, my God.
But SWAC never showed up. SWAC said it was supposed to be 10:30 and arrived to the meeting at 10:30, only to find that the manager, Mr. Trumbauer, was out of office, which I don't know where he would have gone.
A half hour.
Yeah.
Even if it was, okay.
Yeah. So the company was just...
It's bullshit.
Yeah, it was bullshitting. Then they like jump around with different meeting times, and the company keeps kind of stringing them along until 10:30 p.m. on Thursday, March 27th. But this time it was at the SWAC headquarters between John Riff, who was the organizer that took over after Howard Curtis got sick.
And also the lead guitar player of Midnight Shift Change.
Yes. So Howard Curtis had gotten sick because he had been like out on a picket line for 3 days straight and probably hadn't slept. So John Riff, the lead guitarist for Midnight Shift Change, took over and was talking to both state and federal mediators. And basically, the state and federal mediators would run back and forth between the company and the union, and would just bring messages to each other because no one was willing to like talk directly to each other at this point. Then by 1 a.m., Riff and the 15-man SWAC negotiating team was allowed to go into the steel plant and meet with Mr. Trumbauer.
It's a trap.
So, surprisingly not. At 5:40 a.m. Friday, March 28th, Riff came out of the meeting room, casually walked over to the hat rack, put his hat and coat on, and then noticed that there were 75 reporters there, all waiting to get a story out of this.
Okay.
Who had all been probably waiting there for like 3 days. So he turned to them and said, "I guess you want a statement. Do we have everyone here?"
Okay.
Because also it should be noted that Riff has probably been up for like 30 hours at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And was very exhausted. So they had a deal, which was the reinstatement of all strikers with no penalties, the continuation of collective bargaining negotiations with SWAC specifically, rather than ERP. SWAC will be the representative of all SWAC members in the plant. So they wanted a closed shop, but they were willing to have, or they negotiated down to an open shop, but because they held, or because 16,000 of the like 20 something thousand that were in the plant were union members, they were going to get a good they could get a good contract anyway. Then all future actions relating to an exclusive collective bargaining unit would wait until the courts decided on whether or not ERP was legitimate. So basically they said, like, you're not allowed to hold any ERP elections until the court says that you're allowed to.
Yeah.
Then it should also be noted that the representative from ERP continued to say, like, no, despite the fact that you have it in writing from my management,
Jesus,
there will still be elections. So then the reporters ran out and told all of the police and the pickets in front of the plant the news. And then Riff came down and joined them on the picket line for some photo shoots. And at that point, it was reported that someone on the picket line started whistling the song "Back to Work We Go."
Okay.
Which is from the 1938 musical review Pins and Needles.
Okay.
Which I am low-key obsessed with because it's an amazing musical that was written for ILGWU members who, and the entire cast was made up of union members.
Huh.
And they did tours all along the East Coast between 1938 and 41 and were one of the most popular shows.
All right, Gabe, I get the hint.
Yeah. So you should do the Spice Girls cover. So that we get a copyright strike. So, okay, the deal went out to be ratified by members or by union membership at a mass meeting, again at the Beth Allen Casino, because the SWAC headquarters were too small to hold the whole union.
I'd like to think of the casino. That's pretty good.
So it was basically immediately ratified by SWAC,
All right. Well, yeah.
who then began planning a victory parade. So
First
then,
thing.
yeah, that Saturday, the 26th of March, they had a big victory parade of. It was led by 125 women of the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, who were all holding banners saying stuff like ILGWU supports SWAC. And then behind them were like thousands of steel workers, all carrying, or they had forward greater victories ahead. They said it can't be done, but SWAC did it, and SWAC CIO on the march.
Ooh, okay.
Those were the three banners that the newspaper reported, but
okay.
So they had this big victory parade, and it went well. And then within 48 hours of the deal's ratification, the plant went into full production, and basically the SWAC victory was secured. And then later on, the NLRB the courts finally were like, hey, ERP's illegal because we made a law saying you can't do that anymore explicitly.
Aww. I miss ERP.
Yeah. And then in 1942, SWAC merged with AA and created the USW, the United Steelworkers.
Ah, okay.
And so that's how the USW got made, and that was the Bethlehem Steel Strike.
I like it. Okay.
Or the 1941 Bethlehem Steel Strike.
Oh no,
there were others.
I'm so scared of what's going to happen next. I don't mean to seem posh or be a baby or anything about it. I should be a good sport though. I should be a good sport. And what's the other one's name? Steely Spice.
Yeah, she's a USW member.
Hey, this is Gabe, and thanks for listening to the Labor John podcast. So for now, we live in a system called capitalism. And under this system, you have to exchange currency for goods and or services. And to that end, Sam and I put a lot of time, effort, and a fair chunk of our own money into keeping this podcast available and generally free. And if you'd like to help support us doing that, you can give us some money at patreon.com/LaborJohn. And if you choose to do so, we'll give you a fancy button every year, some cool merch, and an extra episode once a month, whenever possible, because life is hard, because capitalism. Anyway, we'd really appreciate your support if you've got a few bucks to spare. Also, if you happen to be a member of a union and you want your fellow union members to learn about local labor history, we do commission work like presentations, pamphlets, that kind of stuff. So if that sounds cool, you can shoot us an email at laborjohn@gmail.com or contact us through laborjohn.com or message us on social media or whatever's most convenient for you. But if that sounds interesting, feel free to reach out. And anyway, thanks for listening. Solidarity. Have fun.